He told me to my face in front of the whole building that I needed to move my car because his wife didn't like walking far. My car, in my assigned spot, that I pay for every single month. Okay, so I've lived in my apartment building for about 2 years. It's a decent place, nothing fancy, but it has assigned parking, which in this city is basically worth more than the apartment itself. My spot is clearly marked with my unit number. I have a little placard on my dashboard. There is zero ambiguity here. My neighbor across the hall, I'll call him Greg, moved in about 4 months ago with his wife. Nice enough at first. We waved in the hallway. That was the extent of our relationship. Fine. I don't need to be best friends with my neighbors. So one Saturday morning, I'm coming back from the grocery store, arms full, just trying to get inside. And Greg is standing in the parking lot next to my car, which is parked in my spot, with his arms crossed like he's been waiting for me. He says, and I quote, "Hey, we need to talk about this spot." I'm thinking, okay, maybe he's confused, maybe there's been a mix-up with management. I'm totally open to a calm, adult conversation. I say, sure, what's up? He goes, my wife has bad knees. She can't walk from the back of the lot, so we've been using this spot, and it'd just be easier if you parked in the back and let us keep this one. I stared at him for a solid 3 seconds. Because, I'm sorry, what? I said as politely as I could manage that I totally sympathize, but this is my assigned spot, it's in my lease, and I need it. He waves his hand like I've said something mildly inconvenient and goes, well, we've kind of already been using it when you're not around. It's not a big deal, we just need to formalize it. Formalize it? Like I'm going to sign over my parking rights because he decided to squat in my spot and now wants paperwork. I told him again, gently, still, that he needed to talk to building management about getting a closer spot reassigned. There's a wait list, it's a whole thing, but that's the actual process. I offered to walk him through how to contact the property manager. I even said I'd put in a good word. He looks at me like I've suggested he swim to the moon. And then he says, I wish I was making this up. We really didn't think you'd be difficult about this. Difficult? I'm being difficult, because I want to use the parking spot that is literally in my lease agreement. At that point, his wife came out, let's call her Dana, and Dana had clearly been listening from the doorway because she came in hot. She goes, this is ridiculous. You're one person. You don't even need a close spot. My husband explained the situation. I said, as evenly as I could, I understand your knees hurt. I genuinely feel bad about that, but I'm not giving up my assigned parking spot. Dana, we pay just as much rent as you do. Me, then you get the same access to building services as I do, which includes filing a request with management for a reassignment. And that's when Greg went full unhinged. He actually raised his voice in the parking lot on a Saturday morning and said, you know what, you're being a selfish little, and caught himself barely, but continued with, we have been nothing but respectful to you, and you are making this into a whole thing over a parking space. A whole thing over my parking space. Something in me just stopped being polite. I looked at both of them and said very quietly, the next time either of your cars is in this spot without my permission, I'm calling a tow truck. Not management, a tow truck, and I won't be warning you first. Dana gasped like I'd threatened her firstborn. Greg told me I'd regret that. No, seriously, you'll regret that. Like a villain in a made-for-TV movie. I walked inside. 3 days later, I come home and there's Greg's car, in my spot. I didn't go knock on their door. I didn't text. I called the tow company that services our complex. The number is literally on a sign in the lot, and I reported an unauthorized vehicle in my assigned spot. Gave them the unit number painted right on the curb. The tow truck showed up in 20 minutes. And here's the thing, Greg must have seen it from the window because he came sprinting out in his house slippers and the driver was already hooking up the car. Greg is yelling, stop, stop, that's my car, there's been a mistake. And the driver goes completely deadpan, unit number on the curb says this spot belongs to Unit 14. Unit 14? Greg said no. Driver said, then there's no mistake, and finished the hookup. And here's what I want you to picture. The whole interaction happened right at the building entrance. There were at least 6 neighbors watching, including the woman from Unit 12 who later told me, standing right there in the lot, honestly, good for you. They tried the same thing with me when they first moved in. Greg had to pay $340 to get his car out of impound. I know because I heard him on the phone in the hallway loudly, telling someone the amount. We have not spoken since. When we pass in the hall, he looks at the floor. Dana looks at the floor. My car sits in my spot every single day. So honestly, was I too harsh? The tow, no warning, $300. I made a promise, they tested it, and I kept it. But I want to know what you think. Honestly, though, what would you have done? Comment below.